Okay, so let's talk about Apple. We all see the polished aluminum, the glowing logos, the most valuable company in the world. But behind all of that, there's a crisis brewing. And what's wild is, it's a story we've kind of seen before with other tech giants. A story about being late to a massive technological shift. And this time, it's shaking Apple's trillion-dollar empire right to its very core.
So where is all this coming from? I mean, if you just listen to the chatter in the tech world, the feeling is pretty clear. People are saying it outright. The company that literally defined the future for so long is now seen as falling behind it.
And this is where it really hits home for millions of us, right? I mean, remember when Siri first came out? It was magic. It was years ahead of everybody else. But now, you've got these incredibly powerful AIs popping up everywhere. And Siri, well, Siri just feels like it's stuck in 2014.
Whoa. Okay, now that is a heavy statement, but it really just goes to show you how serious this whole situation is. The stakes could not be higher. We're not just talking about one single feature. This is about the entire future direction of the company. So that's the big question, isn't it? How did Apple, a company with $60 billion in cash, the titan of innovation, how did they get here? Well, to understand what's happening right now, we actually need to look back at a ghost from tech's past.
And this is where things get really fascinating. You have to remember, back in 2007, BlackBerry was the king. They had half the entire smartphone market. But as the iPhone and touchscreens started taking over, what did they do? They clung to what they knew: physical keyboards and security. And by 2016, well, you can see what happened. Their story became the ultimate cautionary tale.
And that leads us to the central, kind of terrifying question of this whole thing. As this AI revolution just steamrolls through every single industry, Apple is doubling down on its old strengths: privacy, polish, perfection. So, is that a brilliant, calculated move, or is it a catastrophic mistake?
You see, this whole problem, it goes way deeper than just features. It's really about the economics. There's this hidden paradox at the heart of AI that actually turns Apple's single greatest strength, its incredible scale, into a massive, potentially crippling liability. And to get why, we have to first understand the currency of AI.
And that currency is something called tokens. The easiest way to think about them is like tiny little digital coins. Every time you ask an AI a question, you pay some input tokens. And every time it gives you an answer back, it costs output tokens. And every single one of those tokens has a real-world price tag.
So let's see how this actually works. When you ask Siri a really complex question, it's not actually thinking for itself. What it does is it sends out something called an API request. It's basically just a message asking for help to a powerful AI like ChatGPT. Then that service does all the heavy lifting, which burns through compute power and tokens, and then it sends the answer back. It seems so simple on our end, but behind the scenes, it's a costly chain reaction every single time.
And this slide right here, I mean, this is everything. This gets to the absolute core of the problem. You see, with traditional software, the bigger you get, the cheaper things become. You get bulk discounts, right? Your profit margins grow. But with AI, it's the complete opposite. Every single user request adds to your costs. This means that massive scale, the thing that made Apple so powerful, can actually destroy your profit margin. So what does this look like in actual dollars and cents? Well, get ready for this number because it is absolutely jaw-dropping. If 1 billion Apple users, and they have way more than that, made just 12 AI requests a day, the potential annual bill could hit $65 billion. And that's over half of Apple's entire annual profit, gone just to pay for AI services. It's just not sustainable.
Now, you're probably thinking, okay, wait a minute. Won't Google and Microsoft have the exact same problem? And that's a great question. But this is where the plot really thickens, because they have built a powerful defense, a moat really, that Apple just doesn't have.
This chart just lays it all bare. When you look at the entire AI stack, all the different pieces you need to make this stuff work, you see a critical weakness for Apple. Look at Microsoft and Google. They're what we call vertically integrated. They own the AI models, they own the cloud computing, they own the data, and they own the platforms. Apple? Well, they really only own the platform.
And this metaphor just absolutely nails it. Apple is basically in a position where it has to rent the AI factory from its competitors. Google, on the other hand, owns the entire factory, from the silicon chips in their data centers all the way to the search bar on your screen. They control the costs from top to bottom.
So how is Apple supposed to fight back against this? I mean, they're not just sitting around doing nothing. They actually have a pretty clever, multi-layered strategy that's designed to deal with this exact existential threat.
Their defense is basically a smart triage system. So the first line of defense is your iPhone itself. Simple, private tasks, like say summarizing an email, that's all going to happen right on your device. It costs Apple $0. Now, for heavier tasks like generating an image, that'll go to Apple's own private cloud servers. It's only as a last resort, for the absolute most complex questions, that Siri will reach out to an external partner like ChatGPT. The whole goal here is to turn that avalanche of costly queries into a tiny trickle.
Now, this brings up a huge misunderstanding I hear all the time. People say, well, Google pays Apple billions to be the default search engine, so why can't an AI partner just do the same thing? The problem is the business models are polar opposites. Google makes money from ads every time you search. OpenAI loses money every time you make a query. You just can't build a long-term, large-scale partnership on that foundation.
And all of this brings us to the final, and frankly, the most existential threat of all. This isn't just about money anymore. This is about control, it's about identity, and it's about what an iPhone even is in the age of AI.
And here we are, full circle, right back to BlackBerry. They bet the entire company on security and trust, while the rest of the world moved on to apps and touchscreens. Now, Apple is betting on privacy and its perfect ecosystem. But what happens when the most important part of the user experience is an AI that lives above the operating system?
This right here illustrates the ultimate danger. The value could actually move away from Apple's beautiful hardware, that piece of glass in your hand, and shift to whoever owns the AI thinking layer. The iPhone risks becoming just a gateway, a dumb piece of glass that's just a portal to another company's intelligence. Every single time a user has to say, "Hey Siri, ask ChatGPT," Apple loses a little bit of its power.
So that's the ultimate question, isn't it? For decades, we have paid a premium for Apple's design, its seamless experience, its brand. But what happens if an AI knows you better than your iPhone does? An AI that can work on any device, anywhere? Does the logo on the back of the phone even matter anymore? That is the billion-dollar or maybe trillion-dollar question that Apple has to answer, and they have to answer it fast.